Hey everyone, this is Schleicher from Gaming Trend and Tabletop Throwdown, and I'm here to tell you about Hive Mind. This is one of the first games in the Titan series of games that Calliope Games is releasing. Now, this was a Kickstarter that was very interesting because they didn't actually have specific games ready and available to show people what they were going to put out. Instead, they said, we have these designers here and we're going to have them make a game for us if you can help us fund this. And you could go with one of the games, you could go with 3 or 5 or however many games, including all the games that they have. Hive Mind is a family style game or a party game. On the box it says 3 to 12 players, but you can really play with more players than that if you want. And it takes roughly an hour to play. Now, are you ready to be one of the bees in the hive? Well, let's take a look and find out.
So Hive Mind comes with this game board as well as this book that's full of blank sheets of paper, which I do appreciate, as well as a set of pencils. I appreciate the fact that those are also included so you don't have to go and try to search for them, but you can just use regular pens and pencils and paper if you already have those on hand if you like. So basically, everyone starts at the very top of the beehive here, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 bees right there. So quite a few bees to choose from at the beginning of the game. And if you have more players, you can use pennies or some cubes if you have them on hand, or something else just to mark where they're at. The object of the game is to be the one who does not go through here first. It's kind of weird in that this game you you basically have a couple of people who don't win and everyone else who does. So what you do is you roll this die here, and let's see. So that goes to 1, and so 1 here, that means the bee or person that has the least amount of points when they do scoring will be moved down 1 level within the beehive over here. Now, over here, there's 2, so that means 2 bees will go down. This one here with the honey pot, that means that the one bee that does not have the most points, who has the least number of points, goes down, and the one who has the most number of points goes up a level. And then you go 3 here, and you just constantly go around through here as the game progresses. So after you go and you have your queen bee wherever, and you go and ask a question. And questions are typical of the ones that are shown here, like what are 3 desserts? What are 4 ways to fill in the blank? We didn't expect to see blank at the rock concert. What are 5 famous landmarks? Or you can make up your own question, and there's also some on the other side. What are 4 large animals you'd like to have a hamster sized version of, which 2 people in the room would make the best professional chefs? What are 5 things that come to mind when you think of Los Angeles? They're all these kinds of things. And when you score, you basically score for having a point for every answer. So, you can, if you have 3 answers for this first one, you'll automatically get 3 points. Even if the answers don't make any sense at all for the question, you still get a point. But the object of the game is to be like Family Feud and match the other people that are in the same room. Now you do have a timer that comes with it, but let's be honest, you're better off going with a clock timer. There is an app that you can get, and it will keep track of 2 minutes and do Flight of the Bumblebee as you're playing, but it can get kind of annoying if you do that. But you might want to try it 1 or 2 times and see how it goes. So after everyone's done, you go around the room and say, okay, I had this answer, and then everyone else who had that answer raises their hands, and every person gets a point for having the same answer. So if 3 people have that answer besides the person who is going right then, they get 4 points for that answer, as well as everyone else who had that answer. And you go through and calculate the number of points you have and the number of the person with the lowest number of points for that round goes down, or in this case, 2 or 3. One thing that I didn't really find clear in the rules, though, was if you had like the queen bee on this here and you had a small group and there were only 3 numbers, like you had one person that had 6, one person that had 8, and then everyone else had 10. Does everyone move down, or does the team that had 10, or all the people who had 10 stay at the same level? I went ahead and just said everyone moves down because it helps move the game move along a lot faster. If you have small groups too, you have these gates here that if someone's here and they would be the lowest, let's say one of these 2 guys here would have been the lowest and gone down, this gate gets removed. It's kind of a little bit of a reprieve to help keep them in the game. But as you go down and get these gates removed, you go down here, the gate gets removed, and let's say you have 2 bees that end up getting out at the same time. Well, everyone else who's still in the hive wins, but the bees that aren't there are losers, and I really find it kind of odd to say, hey, you lost, you're a loser. I just say that those bees either go off and try to find another hive to live at, or they died during the winter because they were out in the cold and couldn't find a place to live, which is kind of macabre, but it still works too. Had a really fun time with this, and it's a game that non-gamers can play and everyone can get into. It's very interesting depending on the group. If it's a group of people that knows each other very well, you're probably going to have some different answers than if you don't know the other people that you are playing with very well. But there's always that time when you'll shout an answer or say an answer at the end and be like, why didn't I think of that answer? So it's really a fun game. It's not anything deep, but it's still definitely a worthy party game to put in your collection if you're looking for something in that vein.
So, what's my final verdict on Hive Mind? I was actually pleasantly surprised with it. It was a game that even my wife will play, and that's saying something because she's really not much of a gamer. Every time that I've played this, the people have had fun, and it is a very different dynamic if you're playing with people that you know or and people you don't know. So that's something to keep in mind when you play this game. However, it's very fast and it's easy to keep score. The one thing that is kind of wonky is that you only have a certain number of people that lose, and it's kind of, I don't know, unsportsmanlike to point and say, hey, you're a loser. But in the end, I think everyone has really had fun with it and doesn't really care who wins or loses. I just wish that there was something to tell them other than, hey, you went off and got out of the hive and you starved because the winter came around and you didn't have another hive to join or something like that, which I don't know, that's maybe a bit sick, but whatever. But again, it's more about the gameplay and it is a lot of fun. It's a lot of Family Feud style questions, and if you're into playing that kind of game, then you'll definitely enjoy Hive Mind.